All right, these are the 3 new pickleballs that were recently released or will be released soon. We got the Selkirk Pro S1, the Gearbox GB1, and the new Joola Heleus ball. Can any of these new balls dethrone the current king? Let's set the stage a little bit. For the past few years, there has been 2 balls, that has dominated and flooded the market, the Onyx Durafast 40 and the Franklin X40. These are the current king and queen of your courts, most likely. If you play pickleball semi-frequently, chances are that you have come across one of these balls and they are probably in your bag right now. The Franklin is used a lot in recreational play and rec tournaments hosted by your local community. You can tell it's a Franklin X40 because of the X you can usually see embossed into the ball somewhere along with the same size holes throughout the ball. It is fairly reliable and holds its shape pretty well. If they come out of the box perfectly spherical, that is. Sometimes you will get brand new ones that aren't perfectly round and they wobble when traveling through the air. Now, for most recreational players, this isn't a huge issue. The problem with the Franklin X40 is that it gets mushy and soft the longer you use it. And in really warm weather, it becomes slow and it's more difficult to put away a ball. Now, this is also usually a non-issue for most players just playing for fun. However, most competitive tournament players don't like this, and they feel that the game just becomes like way too slow. With that being said, this brings me to the current ball that sits atop of the throne, which is the Onyx Durafast 40, the beloved, albeit widely criticized, king of the pickleballs. It's this more pale yellow color and has some holes of different varying sizes. I will say that there is a brighter neon yellow colored version of the Dura, but it plays a bit differently, and most tournaments that use the Dura will opt for the paler yellow version. Many competitive and high level players prefer this thing for 2 main reasons. First, it plays fairly fast, and second, the pros play with it. Although the pros just play with it maybe because the professional tours have agreements in place to use the Durafast 40. I'm not so sure they would choose to play with it if there were better options out there. That'd actually be, kind of interesting to see or hear how the pro players would play or which ball they would choose if they had the option. Now, the main problem with this ball is that they are not durable. Let me repeat, the Durafast 40 is not durable. They crack fairly quickly and easily in colder temperatures, and in warmer temperatures, they tend to warp, which causes it to wobble. If you play with it in normal temps, they will still warp, and this warp is an issue because you get bad bounces. Some balls literally shoot up really high and some don't bounce at all, and you will find yourself whiffing the ball. In my experience, these Duras might last you 5 to 7 games before they either crack or warp, if you're lucky. This brings me on to the newcomers. Meet some of the new contenders for the throne. We have the Selkirk Pro S1, the Gearbox GB1, and the Joola Heleus ball. Now, I know there are other balls out there as well, such as the Diadem, the Oso Fury, the Core Outdoor, Pickle Elite, and more, but I haven't had a chance to play with all of them, or at least play with them enough to give any meaningful opinion about them. Let's first talk about the Joola Heleus, which has a similar pale yellow color to the Dura. Actually, if the Franklin X40 and the Dura had a baby, this would be it. It's, in my opinion, a Dura clone with the same hole pattern as the Franklin X40. The ball plays fairly similar to a Dura as well. Good speed, good bounce, initially at least. Everything you like about a Dura, the Heleus has, but it also has everything you hate about a Dura as well. The Heleus eventually warps, and when it does, the Heleus bounces really high and fast. Actually, they kind of already bounce a bit more than the Dura fresh out of the box, in my opinion, but even more so once they warp. The balls seem to not crack as quickly when compared to the Dura, but they eventually crack as well. I've only played with this ball in my local indoor facility and have not tested it extensively outdoors or in extreme heat or cold, so please keep that in mind. At $13 per 4-pack of balls, according to their official site, it comes out to around $3.25 per ball, which is the same price as the Dura when purchased in a 4-pack. I think this ball is a decent replacement for the Dura, but because of its issues with durability, I'm personally not a huge fan of it for the same reasons why I'm not a huge fan of the DuraFast 40. If you can't get your hands on Duras for whatever reason, this could be a solid choice. Just keep in mind that you get a little bit more durability, but you might get a few more bad bounces during your play session. Next up, we got the Gearbox GB1. This thing is a super neon green. It almost has a translucent trait about it. The name of the ball is printed on the ball, unlike the embossed imprint you can find on the Joola Heleus. So after play with it for a while, the paint wears off. It's not a huge deal and really doesn't affect how it plays. But speaking of how it plays, it's a fast ball with a very predictable bounce. I'd say it's just as fast as the Dura, but it feels hard on contact. Some people might say that it feels heavy when coming off their paddle. I've played with it indoors and outdoors in moderate to warm temperatures, and it holds shape rather well when compared to the Duras that I've played with in the same conditions. I really like the speed and the visibility that this ball provides, and I actually have yet to see it warp to the same degree as the Dura or the Heleus ball. Since it plays fairly fast and is quite a hard-hitting ball, I'm curious to see how it stacks up in more extreme temperatures, to see how long it would take to crack in the cold or warp in the heat. If you guys have experience with this ball in those conditions, or any of these balls for that matter, be sure to let everyone know in the comments down below. At $11 per a 3-pack, these balls turn out to be around $3.66 per ball. It's a bit pricier than the Heleus and the Dura, but I think they are more durable. I would choose the GB1 over those two for sure. Now, last but not least, we got the PROS1 ball from Selkirk. This ball is easily distinguishable from the others because of its varying hole sizes that on average are smaller holes than what can be found in a lot of other balls out on the market. This gives the ball a bit more surface area, and I think it helps the ball spin more easily. Out of all the pickleballs I've hit with, I feel like I can generate the most RPM with the PROS1, when driving from the baseline at least. It's also a fairly fast ball. Not quite as fast as the Dura, GB1, and Heleus in my opinion, but very close. There's a part of me that thinks it actually travels through the air just as fast as the other balls, but because I can generate more spin with this ball, it dips faster, giving the feedback that this ball may not be as fast or travel as far. I definitely don't think that should deter you though. It's still plenty fast and sits between a Dura and a Franklin in terms of speed, but probably leaning much closer to a Dura. The bounce is very predictable and true, in line with the GB1, but where the PROS1 shines, I think, is in its durability. It's just as durable as the Franklin X40 and holds its shape incredibly well over time and in more extreme temperatures. I've talked with Chris from the Pickleball Studio, who has played with it in the colder climate of Minnesota, as well as my buddy Jeff Lee, who lives in Austin, Texas, and plays in triple-digit heat sometimes, and they both have told me that the ball has held up incredibly well. The crazy thing is that it not only retains its shape, but also retains its hardness and speed, while the Franklin X40, by comparison, holds its shape pretty well in extreme heat, but it becomes very malleable and soft and eventually loses its performance. The Selkirk Pro S1 is probably one of my new go-to balls to play with in rec play, along with the new GB1 from Gearbox. The Pro S1 is a bit on the pricier side at $15 per a 4-pack, which comes out to about $3.75 a ball, so keep that in mind. I personally think the bit of extra money is worth it, having a ball that is more durable, especially if you play more competitively or you just have longer sessions. Lastly, I want to note that the Pro S1 comes with a 1-year no-crack warranty with some stipulations at the time of this recording. You will definitely have to read the fine print yourself, but from what I remember, it's that you need to be a US customer, it's only good for the original purchaser, and you need to have gathered all 4 cracked balls in order to take advantage of the warranty. Okay, so some closing thoughts. Basically, a future where we no longer have to hit with warp balls that crack every other game is upon us. If you can't find Duras for whatever reason, you have the Joola Heleus you can go to. If you need high visibility, speed, and some durability, you can choose the GB1. If you want unmatched spin, predictable bounces, and longevity matched with a 1-year warranty, choose the Selkirk Pro S1. All right, that's it for this video. Till next time, play better. Peace.